If I had to summarize in one sentence the key to keeping and strengthening your testimony, it would be this: you have to fight for your testimony. There are many things we're willing to fight for. Who has been willing to go to battle, figuratively, for something that they wanted badly? Who has put in long hours of hard study to get a needed grade on a final exam? Who has practiced diligently and passionately to master a sport or a musical instrument? Who would put up a fight if someone were trying to steal something of value from them? Our testimonies are our most valuable possession, and someone is trying to steal them from us. Can you imagine what our testimonies would be like if we fought for them with the same tenacity with which we fight for other things in life? I think there are two reasons why we need to fight for our testimonies. First, we show our Father in heaven how much we value our testimony and that we want to keep it. I believe he is more eager to give the gift of testimony to those he knows will cherish it, protect it, and fight for it. The second reason is that those things that constitute a good fight are also the things that will naturally result in a stronger testimony. I'm talking about prayer, study, fasting, and all of the tools that we already know to be the key to gaining faith and knowledge. We all know that we need to be doing these things. But when it comes to growing our testimonies, it's not enough to just do them. We need to do them with purpose and focus and consistency. Doing these things casually is not nearly enough when a testimony is in danger. If you are struggling with your faith and not receiving the testimony that you want, despite prayer, study, and fasting, I urge you to not give up. Do these things with renewed vigor. Make it a true fight. Although there is only one source of a true testimony, there are many sources of falsehood. About 11 years ago, our twins, Max and Mia, were 2 years old, and we were living in an apartment while I was in graduate school. To my wife's horror, we discovered that there was a mouse in our apartment. We bought a mouse trap, put some peanut butter on it, and placed it next to a baseboard on the kitchen floor where we had seen the mouse. 2-year-olds and mouse traps don't coexist very well, so we took Max and Mia into the kitchen, pointed out the mouse trap, and explained to them how dangerous it was. We told them to stay away from it, to keep their fingers out, that it would hurt them. We even used our scary voices. No, don't touch, danger. A couple of days later, while most of us were sitting on the couch in the other room, we heard a snap and then a scream. We hurried into the kitchen and found little Mia with her fingers in the trap and her peanut butter on her lips. Brothers and sisters, there are many sources of falsehood in the world. Please don't put your fingers in those traps. Don't turn to them in your quest for a testimony. There have been and always will be intelligent, articulate people in the world that will try to convince you that the church is not true, that God does not exist, and that anyone who believes that there is a God is foolish and naive. Don't go to those sources. Don't turn to people on the internet who are seeking to destroy your testimony. Like with our twins, I want to point at those traps and tell you how dangerous they are. I want to tell you to stay away from them, to keep your fingers out, that they will hurt you. I want to use my scary voice. No, don't touch, danger. You would never turn to an engineering textbook to learn accounting or play basketball to prepare for a final exam. It just doesn't make sense. Turning to other sources for understanding or to gain a testimony makes even less sense. Don't do it. Regarding questions of faith, Elder Holland said, "In this church, what we know will always trump what we do not know. And remember, in this world, everyone is to walk by faith." Elder Holland is telling us two things. We do know quite a bit about how things fit together. And for those things that we don't know, we're just going to have to get by on faith. This does not mean that we should stop thinking deeply and asking difficult questions. It is important for us to continue to ask questions, but we must do it using the enabling power of faith, assuming that answers will come, rather than under the stifling influence of doubt. I firmly believe that eventually all questions of science, religion, and history will be answered in full. Sometimes I draw strength from the fact that there are a lot of intelligent, educated people that have amazing testimonies of the Savior and the restored gospel. I think of the testimonies of President Eyring and Elder Oaks and Elder Nelson. These are educated, intelligent, successful men, and they believe. I think of the testimonies of my friends, colleagues, and family. These people are smarter than me, and they believe. My colleagues and I study how people interact with robots. In a recent project, we worked with students and faculty from the departments of computer science and communication disorders to explore how therapists can use robots to help children with autism. The therapists used the robot to engage the children in games, sharing activities, and songs with actions, such as popcorn popping. Although our results were not perfect, we found that for some children with autism, using robots can help them make improvements in important social behaviors. What if we had dreamed up a robot but had never built it to see how it worked? Or what if we had built the robot but never let the therapist use it in the clinic? Our work would have been useless. You can read all you want about a topic. You can think carefully about a research question. You can look at the theory and develop mathematical models. You can even look at other people's research, but until you try it out, until you get your hands dirty in actual experiments, you'll never get a definitive answer for yourself. The same is true for obtaining and keeping a testimony of the gospel. We need to experiment upon the word. Only by getting our hands dirty can we get a definitive answer for ourselves. In the Book of Mormon, Alma tells us the Lord's way of experimenting. We must desire to have a testimony. We must exercise what faith we have, even if it's very little. We must do those things that will make our faith grow, and then we watch carefully to see if it grows.
This devotional address with Mark Colton was given on June 30th, 2015.